Well, I'm excited to talk to you about the Outwaters here. Looks like you grew up not too far from where I am. I'm in Bucks County, PA, so not too far from New Brunswick. Um,
Love it there.
yeah. Before getting into the Outwaters, what inspired you, a kid from New Jersey, to get into the horror field and, really dabble in a bunch of these films that you have coming out that you've already released, but you already have coming out, and especially the Outwaters?
Just growing up, I really loved movies and Steven Spielberg, specifically Jaws and Jurassic Park were early favorites. Something about the magic of those just made me want to do the same thing. I love being scared, so try to create that feeling for other people was a goal from an early age. And it's also just fun to make projects with your friends and run around the neighborhood with your friends and make movies. That's what I was doing like all growing up.
That's awesome.
Good excuse to play in the woods.
Yeah, and the Outwaters, you definitely have a lot of desert to play in, a lot of different scenery there that really is contributing to a solid, what I think is actually a really good found footage film. That sometimes, found footage, it gets very monotonous after a while, and I think that new found footage that's really successful is hard to come by. But watching this, you kind of lull people in with this like friend group at the beginning, and then just start hitting them left and right with a lot of absurdity, a lot of intensity, a lot of unsettled feelings. What inspired the Outwaters? Are there any found footage films that inspired that film?
Just the original Blair Witch Project
Yeah.
for its absolute authenticity.
Yeah.
And I mean, that for me is just such cinema. And I also love Willow Creek because it feels found and it was shot on a camera that the characters might own. And I enjoy it. Like the characters in that don't hate each other. So those two, in terms of found footage, were the inspirations
That's awesome.
for how I would like to do things with mine.
Yeah, absolutely. What kind of process do you go through when you're putting a film like this together with found footage? Is it largely scripted? Is it largely not scripted?
In this one in particular, it was very exploratory and lots of shot lists and images drawn and very specific ideas that basically my rule is if the shot or the idea stayed in my mind for a few days, it was worth doing. And then once it's in my mind, I don't necessarily need to write it down. So it was a mix. Shot lists, drawings, mental map.
Right.
No one script from beginning to end though for this. Although my next film is also found footage and I had much more of a everything written out. Aside from the dialogue, I had everything written out in order of what happens. So that made editing a lot quicker for the next one.
I imagine there's probably a lot of footage that got left on the cutting room floor with this one.
Yeah, a lot of the footage of the same stuff that you see, just different shots. I just had total freedom, so I could shoot the shit out of something, and I love editing, so I want as much footage as possible. I love editing, so.
Very cool. It looks like you're going to play in this world a little bit more with the Outwaters. I saw that there's 2 shorts coming down the road that focus on your character and other footage there. Can you tell us anything about that?
Yeah, there's 2 companion short films. One is called Card Zero. It's a memory card that the police find at my apartment shortly after I go missing, and that shows life right before we go on the trip. So it shows some of the characters, and it's kind of like a romantic drama with a little bit of doom hanging over it. That can just be watched on its own. You don't have to know anything about the Outwaters to watch it. It's its own little thing. And then there's File VL624, which is an epilogue short, and it's comprised of restored corrupted footage from the 4 memory cards, including Card Zero. There's all this corrupted footage that the police try to, basically the idea is that they hire someone to restore this, that they couldn't get off the cameras. And that's its own little, that's actually probably my most experimental and ambitious thing I've ever done is that short. And they will be available on the Blu-ray, and they will likely be streaming at some point as well.
Very cool. You act in a few of your films, this one being one of them. How is that when you're directing and also putting yourself in front of the camera? Is that a challenge? Is that something you enjoy?
I don't necessarily enjoy it. It was a necessity and a practical thing because it's found footage and I had to shoot it. I wasn't too worried about it because I could just keep doing it over and over if I didn't feel like it was real, or you know what I mean?
Right.
So yeah, it was kind of fun, but it's not something that I I'm not trying to be an actor, basically.
Will you play a character that's not named Robbie in any of your upcoming films?
In Tinsman Road, my character's name is Robbie Lyle, so there's a different last name. Although I did play a character named Spicy Legato in my friend's movie years ago, and I also played a character called Frustrated Jersey Boy, his other movie. So I do have range.
I think that's going to be quite all right if you stick with the Robbie as well. Horror's having quite the moment right now. You know, there's the big budget ones that are out there, whether that's Scream or Megan, things like that. But with indie films like The Outwaters and Skinamarink, what do you think is behind the success of these films that are really being consumed by viewers?
Honestly, I'm not speaking for myself or my movie, but I just want to say, if the movie is kind of like good, whether it's a big movie like Megan, which I've loved so much, or it's a smaller experimental thing like Skinamarink, if there's some element of like quality to it, I think people respond. So I think maybe the past couple of years there's maybe just more of those than less. I don't really have an answer, but I just think that Megan is really fun and awesome, and Skinamarink is really amazing, and Scream I will always love and be excited for. So Evil Dead looks amazing. I just make a good movie and people will hopefully see it.
That's awesome.
Word will get out that it's like probably good.
Do you see yourself staying in the horror genre? I know that you mentioned that one of the shorts is more of kind of like the romantic film with some doom hanging over there, but is there any other genres that you want to explore?
I definitely want to make dramas and a couple musicals. However, I can't imagine ever like leaving horror. It'll be like drama, horror, musical, drama, horror, musical, gay.
Very nice. Speaking of that, the real question is a sequel to a gay pumpkin carving tutorial in the works?
Always. I always almost do it, but then I'm like so lazy. I'm like, oh, God.
And you're like, it's February.
I probably will. Once I get a little bit more muscle on me.
There you go. Gotta play to the different audiences there. What's next for you? You mentioned a film that's coming out in addition to the shorts. What can you tell us about that?
Tinsman Road is a new feature that I shot while editing The Outwaters, and it's going to premiere at a festival in about a month.
That's awesome.
So I'm excited for people to see it. Also, obviously Outwaters is divisive. I think Tinsman Road is a movie that people who like really did not like The Outwaters could enjoy. It's just a totally different kind of thing. So I'm excited for people to see it.
Well, you said The Outwaters is divisive, but everyone that I've talked to that has seen it, other critics and such, everyone is saying the same thing about how much we enjoyed it, especially the last couple of minutes where it's just kind of like absolutely nutty and insane and gory and, terrifying and all this stuff all at once. But I just commend you and congratulate you on all the success that you're seeing with it, because it really is a great found footage horror film, and can't wait to see what comes out next.
Thank you. I'm just, my hope is that people who are excited to see it will like it, because they are excited to see it. So I don't want to let them down. So hopefully I do like it. Yes.
Absolutely. Well, hey, thank you for taking the time today to talk about it. And like I said, look forward to what you have coming down in the future.
Thank you.